Hi everyone, I'm Steven. I'm a sophomore biochem major at UAH Huntsville, and today I'll be discussing the community ecology of various reptiles and amphibians. In this video, I will explain and give examples of two primary ecological factors, the defense mechanisms of coloration and mimicry. So, for those of you who decide to stick around for the rest of the video, you'll catch 5 fun facts about defense mechanisms. So some of you who are watching may be unfamiliar with the definition of a defense mechanism in relation to biology and/or ecology. So you're going to ask me, what is a defense mechanism exactly? Well, a defense mechanism, it's something that is an anti-predation adaptation developed through generations of evolution of populations in order to deter predators. Some key strategies of defense mechanisms include coloration and mimicry. Let's start with coloration, the visual appearance with regards to color. Some examples of coloration in the wild include the vibrantly colored poison dart frog, natives of Central and South America, as well as the scarlet king snake, who happens to live in the eastern and southeastern portion of the United States. There are 2 main types of coloration. So, the 2 types of coloration, aposematic coloration and cryptic coloration. We'll start with aposematic coloration. Aposematic literally means warning, to get away from. When you look at the Greek root apo and somatic, apo meaning away from, and somatic meaning body, you get away from body. Aposematic. Makes sense, because this is the warning coloration. A prime example of aposematic coloration is the poison dart frog, and it's characterized by this because of its very bright and tawdry colors, which it uses to ward off predators. The second form of coloration is cryptic coloration. Once again, another root word, cryptic coming from the Latin root of hidden or to hide from, literally meaning camouflage. So, a good example is the sand lizard, Lacerta agilis, which can be found all across Europe and as far east in Asia as Mongolia. This little lizard likes to hang out in rocky, sandy areas where it hides from predators. So what's going to happen in the wild is this guy hangs out sunbathing because he's cold-blooded, he has to stay warm that way. And anytime he sees a big bird fly over him, he's going to want to run away as fast as he can because otherwise he's going to get eaten. So first instinct is to go and hide under a rock or find an area that's very similar to his color, ending up looking something like this. So what the sand lizard does versus what the poison dart frog does, both different, but both animals live to see another day. The coloration of an animal can also play a major factor in mimicry. Mimicry, the similarity of one or more species to another in which can protect one or both. These similarities can be classified as sound, scent, behavior, location, or appearance. For this video, I will be focusing primarily on appearance. So just as there are 2 types of coloration, there are also 2 types of mimicry. Mullerian mimicry, named after German naturalist Johann Friedrich Theodor Müller, and Batesian mimicry, named after Henry Walter Bates, the English naturalist. Let's start with Mullerian mimicry, the mimicry in which 2 or more harmful species mock one another's warning symbols. A prime example of that would be the poison dart frog. These frogs right here come from different areas, different rainforests. This one is blue, this one is red. It's not the individual color that matters to the predators, it's the fact that they are so brightly colored. Anytime the predator comes around and says, you know, a frog would be nice right now, but not one of those bright ones. I'm going to get very sick, I could even die from eating one of those. Which is a little bit different than what happens in Batesian mimicry, the second type of mimicry. In Batesian mimicry, you have one harmless species mocking traits of a more harmful species. A great example of this would be the king snake and the coral snake. Both snakes have red, black, and yellow, red, and black. All these colors are the same. However, the big difference is the order. You see with both pictures of the coral snake, it has the same pattern, red, yellow, black, versus the king snake, which has red, black, and yellow. This is very significant because this snake right here has very potent venom. This one is very safe. It's not safe, but for those of you who are still watching, I promised you some fun facts about defense mechanisms. We'll start with number 1, a mnemonic device. Well, as I said before, these 3 snakes right here, you're going to get them confused. This snake right here, the scarlet king snake, the red, black, and yellow, and the coral snake, the red, yellow, and black. Great way to remember the difference is this little mnemonic device. Red touch yellow, kill a fellow. Red touch black, friend of Jack. Which means this king snake is totally safe, and this one, not so safe. However, if your name's not Jack and that's not as fun, just remember that it means venom lack. The second fun fact, From 1947 to the late 1980s, this name sand lizard was the actual use of the name for the camouflage used by the French Army. Number 3, the coral snake. Back to him. This little fella right here is very different in the fact that it's a venomous snake that does not have the shaped head of a pit viper. Also, it does not have fangs. When it injects venom in its prey, it actually bites it, gnaws away in that kind of motion. It's one of very few snakes that actually carries venom that does this. The 4th fun fact, the Texas horned frog. It's pretty unique in its defense mechanism and how, when it feels frightened, it's going to squirt blood out of its eyes, up to 5 feet. This, however, comes at a pretty big cost. It loses up to 1/3 of its blood supply this way, which means about 2% of its body weight is going to disappear after. Number 5, the last, and my personal favorite, fun fact, the Malaysian exploding ant. Honestly, I wouldn't have to tell you much more, but I think I should. The Malaysian exploding ant has these 2 little pockets in its abdomen, and when it feels frightened, its main defense mechanism is to literally explode. Sometimes when a big predator comes by, all it needs is one ant. One ant can stop that predator in the ultimate sacrifice. So, in conclusion, I hope that you have learned a couple of things. Number 1, defense mechanism. It's an anti-predation adaptation developed through generations of evolution of populations in order to deter predators. The second fact I hope you've remembered. Coloration, the visual appearance with regards to color. And there are 2 types of coloration, cryptic and aposematic. The third fun fact, well, not fun anymore, mimicry, the similarity of a species to one another in which can protect one or both. This similarity can be classified as sound, scent, behavior, appearance, or location. And the last, my favorite, is 4. You should just never forget about exploding ants. That's all I have for you. I'm Steven. Thanks for watching. Charge on.